Welcome back to another episode of BD Radio. Today's topic is cooking for your family. So something that we get asked about a lot in the gym. What to cook, how to get their kids to eat certain veggies, all sorts of stuff. And just basically how to progress their results in the gym by really nailing that nutrition aspect, which we know to be so important. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you.
To, second week of being back in the gym, which is great for us. It's been nice to get some normality back.
Definitely.
But this topic we wanted to talk about it just because we've noticed the shift in our own lifestyle. So in ISO, we were cooking every meal from scratch, pretty much breakfast, lunch, tea, and every day we would go to the shops. But we got caught out a little bit last week in our reopening by basically having no food in the fridge, and it can happen a lot, really. So we just wanted to basically talk about what we do and maybe some of our best tips for you guys to help make nutrition as easy as possible during the week, for sure.
Yeah, our first point being being prepared. So obviously Ben just mentioned last week was a bit of a disaster for us. But a disaster for us, I guess, isn't that bad. Like Ben said, we just had no food in the fridge by the end of the week, which to us is...
We're eating a lot of porridge. So like porridge for breakfast and lunch, lots of days.
It means going back to a very basic diet of oats and peanut butter and...
protein powder.
Yeah.
Blueberries.
It was very odd for us. Yeah, whatever was kind of around. One thing we always say to people, and we always do in our house, is we always have food like in our fridge ready to go. So whenever we cook a meal, whether it be dinner, lunch, we always cook enough for another meal. So then no matter what day it is, we can just grab whatever we like from the fridge and we've got something ready to go.
We always pack at least lunch and potentially even more, but that is basically point number one. So preparing, just having basically a meal plan for the week. Like, we know that Monday nights we'll eat together at home, so like Monday nights we'll normally have a pasta or something like that. Tuesday nights, same thing. Wednesday nights I'm at home, so it's usually some sort of disaster. And then Thursday nights Non comes over and brings schnitzel. Friday nights we change it up, and Saturday nights similar, and then Sunday's a roast. But those three sort of nights where there's all kinds of options, where we're not looking to have sort of like takeaway or anything like that, would be Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday, more than likely. And I guess what we wanted to tell you guys today was sort of like our three go-to meals, maybe potentially a bit more, with the ingredients that we use to kind of further optimize them, really. So number one, anyone who follows us on Instagram, all 12 of them, they would see we love a roast.
Yes.
Like roast meat, roast vegetables is hands down like across the board in our house. So all four of us, everyone loves it.
Favorite.
Easily the favourite, and which suits us down to the ground because you pretty much can't get healthier. Roast meat, roast vegetables, greens, sorted. You can cook a massive one and then just have it for days in the fridge. Like, if you were to introduce one meal into your week, a consistent roast would just be a great one.
Yeah, and it helps you... for the week. So we often get quite a few meals out of a roast. Like we'll get
at least a couple of lunches.
Yeah, we'll get a big bit of meat, and I always do like a full tray of vegetables. Mm-hmm. Like they last ages in the fridge. Like we never chuck anything out. Yeah,
so it's been a Sunday like ritual of ours for a while now. Years, easily.
Yeah. So that's one of our favourites. Another one that's really easy that the kids really like, especially William, he likes getting involved with our dinners quite a lot, would be wraps.
Yep. Now, wraps are one of those ones that I sort of mentioned earlier where, depending on your ingredients, they can either be really good or not so good. So when we say wraps, we pretty much don't mean Old El Paso taco seasoning and, the Mission Foods white wraps and that sort of thing. The wraps we do use, I think they're at Safeway as well, but they're definitely at Coles, MEB Pitters.
Yep.
And it's just flour, water, yeast, salt, I think, and that's it. We buy them on the day. They're not too crash hot to heat after, 12 hours of opening them. No. But that's just because they've got nothing in them.
Yeah, so, no preservatives.
Yeah, they're super clean and a really good wrap option, and they taste fine. Like, they're just as good as, they taste real, basically. They don't taste like rubber in your mouth like some of those other ones.
No, they're beautiful.
Helga's spinach wraps, I'm looking at you. It's like 2% spinach in that nonsense.
And so, like Ben was saying, obviously we never use any like pre-made sauces or spice mixes. Even be careful with like in the spice section where you think it's just a spice mix, like a Master Foods, like in a shaker. Read the ingredients. You'd be surprised how many of them have preservatives,
sugar,
and sugar. Yeah,
99% of them.
It's ridiculous. So we always do our seasoning from scratch. So this week we had chicken
thighs.
So I used oregano, salt, pepper, and olive oil.
It's delicious.
Yeah, normally if I had some lemon at home as well, I would have put that in. But that was tasty. William liked it, and he's not a massive fan of flavour.
Yeah,
so that says something.
And what else did we have in them?
So we had lettuce.
We didn't have cheese.
Cucumber. We don't have much dairy in our house.
Just to give an example though, so that was what was yesterday? Tuesday. That was a Tuesday night meal. If it was a Friday night meal, and that's probably the one where we let our hair down a little bit, we probably would have cheese. We would have
that'd
beef.
Be the difference.
Yeah, it's just little subs like that can make meals healthier or not as healthy, basically on a sliding scale.
Yeah.
It's not like it's unhealthy because it has cheese, but it could definitely be healthier if you didn't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So if we did this meal on a Friday, Ben's right. We'd have cheese and probably maybe sour cream.
Yeah.
Salsa.
Yeah. Maybe beef mince as well, rather than
chicken.
Yeah, and we would use the Mexican seasoning on everyone's but Williams.
Yeah. We had cucumber, lettuce, avocado. Mia and I had mushrooms. The boys are not fans.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it was delicious. I think William had 4.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he loves them.
That's a really good meal. And I think the more we get the kids involved in what we do eat, the more likely they are to enjoy it.
Yeah, we noticed that over the ISO period is every day we'd head to the shops to get our tea because we had to get out of the house. And we would ask him, what vegetables do you want with the roast? What vegetables do you want with your chicken? This and that. And he was far more likely to eat them if he picked them. It was almost like he took a bit of ownership on the meal, and then all of a sudden he was invested and ate his food. Whereas, anyone with small kids can know the battle of sometimes they like pumpkin, sometimes they don't. And
that's still Mia, guys.
It's enough to make you furious, but the more you can involve them, the better.
Yeah. Speaking of getting involved, so we have another little tradition in our house that we take it in turns on Friday night. So every Friday, one person in the house gets to pick what we eat for dinner.
And a movie.
And they also get to pick the movie on the same night. And everybody else just has to go
has
along
to roll
with
it, yeah.
So it's not always takeaway. It can be anything, can be home cooked. But it is that person's choice. And William
tends to choose takeaway.
He does like fish and chips.
Yeah, that's his go-to, isn't it?
Like his mother.
He would choose pizza, but we just don't, we're not ordering that all the time. But we would have homemade, and we can talk about ways we eat that as well.
We just kind of brought it up before. Like wraps is one that often comes up.
Pitters. Yeah.
We use the exact same pitters, but we add a few more toppings, like on a Friday.
Yeah, a little bit more cheese, maybe a slightly fattier meat, like salami, bacon, something like that. Again, if we were to have it on a Tuesday, nothing would change apart from the fact we'd probably just have a leaner meat and less cheese.
Yeah. Same as like pasta dishes. So if we had pasta during the week, we'd make our own sauce from scratch.
Yeah.
And have a high protein pasta, which we've all told you about.
Yeah. Which is hard to find at the moment because the shelves are empty. But if you do see it there, it's a blue packet. and it has Veta Smart Pasta written on it, high protein.
Yeah.
There's also a high fiber one, but
yeah,
we prefer the high protein.
So that's the one we have during the week with a homemade sauce. If we were to have, again, we probably wouldn't have cheese during the week. On a Friday night, if we were having pasta, that's when we might have something like a lasagna or something like that.
Yeah, which we had for William's birthday.
Delicious. Love it. I am the pasta queen.
All right, next point. Oh, that was actually, wait, was that 3 meals or 2 meals?
I don't know.
No, we touched on pasta.
Another.
I wanted to touch on the pasta, but that was good. And Thursday nights, Non's chicken schnitzels. And
that definitely is a favourite.
Yeah, and that's what we do. Roast potatoes, salad, and Non brings over her schnitzels made from scratch.
Yeah, that's another point. Like, knowing what's in your food all the time makes a huge difference. Like, buying a schnitzel from a butcher generally has products that are cheaper. Obviously, because they need to...
And the cuts of meat are usually cheaper as well.
Yeah, they need to make some money off it.
So we're trying to make, what is it? Making something out of nothing.
Yeah, so, you just never know unless... Like 90% of the time when you go to the butcher, there's no ingredients list there. Certain people do it, like Cannings. They often list what's in their products, but generally speaking, it's not. So you can generally find some preservatives in there, guys, and some sugar. Yeah,
but... We know that when Nonna makes it, it's pretty much sliced up chicken breast, dipped in egg, and then breadcrumbs. Is there any flour as well? I can't even remember. Salt.
Pepper, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
There you go. Yeah. Just cooked in oil. Not something we'd have every night, but once a week's not going to kill us, and it's absolutely delicious. So we're not giving it up anytime soon.
Yeah, oils too, guys. That makes a big difference. So always quality. We only use olive oil and coconut oil in our house.
Yeah, we use coconut oil mainly on roast veggies, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, olive oil in the pan, even though we got a new pan after I butchered our last one.
Honestly.
An ongoing issue in our house is me just shredding everything in the kitchen. All right, so what else we wanted to touch on? So I would say that most people's meal choices at night time, especially if they're really actively trying to eat healthy, it's probably the best meal of the day. Like, it's the meal they nail the most because it's probably the meal that we, like, as a culture and society, we think about the most. Like,
yeah, we're together.
Yeah.
It's like, often the meal, that you're with your family.
Possibly that, and if you're eating brunch out. You know what I mean? Like, no one really gets pumped up over lunch. They usually just grab out the Tupperware and away they go, or grab a sandwich and that's it. But prepping breakfast is what I wanted to talk about today, because that is a meal that I think probably the most, it consistently lets down most of our clients, especially before they've like really addressed it. It's like, I think it's just possibly a case of not knowing what to do, as well as a case of not being motivated enough to change it.
Yeah, I was about to say, quite often, like, it's a hard thing for us to accept, but we are lazy. So, like, it's one meal.
The human condition is to be lazy.
Yeah, it is the one meal. Like, it takes us how many minutes before bed to prepare our breakfast? 2?
Or I don't even. I have oats here, just oats, protein powder. But like, I would say that my breakfasts are not the most delicious. If you
had to prep it at home,
5 minutes.
Yeah, max. Yeah. So there really is no excuse.
Yeah.
Why you'd need to go through a Macca's drive-through?
That's the extreme. But I'm talking.
Ben does not do that, guys.
No, I'm talking more about like, well, what'd you have for brekkie? Oh, just a couple bits of toast.
No, but like when people say like why they had that, so I'd be like to somebody, well, why did you have the toast? Oh, I didn't have time.
I didn't have time.
Yeah, I didn't have time. Honestly, it would take you longer to toast your toast and then put your spreads on it than it would for us to prep it the night before.
Or hard boil 20 eggs at the start of the week. Exactly. Just a dozen, and then just have them in the fridge. Or like, I think the easiest way to do breakfast is just to have a couple of go-to, easy to prepare meals that like, you like, that you can just not even think about and just have it.
And often it changes seasonally as well.
Yeah.
So like in summers, people like love having a smoothie, whereas it's not overly popular in winter. And I get that. Like, I don't want to wake up and have a cold drink either.
Yeah, well, in summer I'm more likely to have eggs, and then in winter I prefer a porridge.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, if you're listening to this at home and you're like, oh, yeah, that's me, I have a long black and peanut butter toast, try adding just a serve of protein at breakfast. Like, just start there. So that would be, a couple of eggs, scrambled, poached, whatever, does not matter. Maybe some shortcut bacon, maybe a little bit of leftover meat from the night before, a protein shake, like something like that would just be like, that would already seriously upgrade your meal apart from just carbs and fat in the morning.
Absolutely. So if time's not a problem, cooked breakfast in the morning, ideal.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
That was like ISO. We were loving it. Oh. Waking up, cooking breakfast, lovely coffee.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
However, if you are time poor, so if you do like things like bacon and eggs, you can do the bacon and egg cups.
Yep. Excellent.
So grab a muffin tray, grab some bacon, eggs.
Line it, crack it in the oven for how long?
They don't take long, like 10 to 12 minutes.
Yep.
And then you can put whatever seasoning you want in it. And
bit of salt.
Yep.
Sorted.
Just put them in the freezer.
Yep.
Whatever you don't use.
Basically, a lot of people's breakfast and nutrition in general will improve with like the more awareness and thought they bring to it. So like if you've never thought about it, then you're like, oh, actually, yeah, I should probably improve that. Like it'll just naturally improve over time just because you're now aware of it. So by thinking about your meal choices just a little bit more than you are currently, then you'll already start to make positive strides without really like addressing it with like great effort. So just starting with that, protein in the morning, number one. Yeah. After you've had your protein in the morning, you've got your leftovers for lunch, and then you've got your meal plan prepped for tea. And that is just 95% of the battle right there. You're sorted. You're a superstar at nutrition.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes, remember, find what works for you. So, we've told you a few things that we do in our family. So, getting the kids involved in the meals. Our Friday night tradition, keeps it fun. William looks forward to it. It's a bit of an event in our house.
Yeah.
Sad
or not sad, up to set it aside. That he's like,
maybe a little bit.
Just give the kids some fish and chips.
However, find what works for you and your family. So, a lot of people like to take it in turns, for example. So
to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I prefer to cook in our house, guys.
Yeah, I mean, rightly so. I prefer when she cooks too. This also sort of comes back to how important your environment is when you're trying to create change. We are both on the same page. We both want to be healthy. We're not too fussed about having delicious food all the time.
In saying that, we love our food nearly all the time.
We enjoy what we eat, but we're not constantly searching through Curtis Stone's meals for what can we have that's delicious. We just enjoy what we eat. We eat the same 5 meals all the time and tweak it occasionally.
Yeah.
Because we like it. And that's really all you need. You just need 5 go-to healthy meals that you can tweak occasionally.
Yeah. Quite often I say as well, I think the quality makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
And not only in the taste, so because obviously we enjoy it, but also in the nutritional value. Knowing the difference, for example, farmed salmon compared to wild caught. There is a huge difference. And that's things people don't realise. And if we didn't enjoy our food, we probably wouldn't eat so well all the time.
No, because it wouldn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we'd see it as a spot where we could save a bit of money. So just an example with that, the salmons. So if we were going to have a cooked brekkie on Sunday mornings, whereas maybe in some houses they just get Coles sausages. I saw the organic ones from Cleavers on sale, and they were there was just nothing in them. It was just
not Cleavers, no Cannings. They were good.
The Cannings, yeah,
the pure sausage,
pure sausages, which was just, they had no preservatives, nothing. It was natural hog casing, and it was delicious.
Yeah, that was so nice.
Yeah,
whereas
great.
If someone served me up a Coles snag, I'd probably just push that to the side of my plate. Yeah.
But you're a food snob, and that's why people don't like hanging around you. Our clients who are too scared to tell you when they've had a burger before a PT.
Yeah, that's true. That's a true story.
Happened
yesterday.
They know I'm more understanding. Yeah, so that is our breakdown on how we cook and try and be as healthy as we can with a family.
Something worth noting, I think, as well, is that's just life for us now. Like, we don't...
It wasn't always easy.
No, but we don't think about, like, do we? We don't have to, like, it's not a constant struggle every meal. Like, oh, I really want pizza, but let's cook something healthy.
It was at the start, though. Like, we used to have different meals all the time.
Yeah, we probably
we'd
more
rarely have
variety.
No, as in you would have something and I would have something else.
Separately.
Yeah. Lots.
That's true. That's probably why I had more variety.
Yeah. And I just have the same stuff like non-stop. But I mean, that's probably changed with me over the years. Like, I just feel like super regimented and just, a little bit more educated about all that stuff. But like, yeah, I think, it can take, I guess what the message is, it can take time to find your groove.
Yeah.
And you don't have
to... It's not always
don't have to go from 0 to 100 straight away overnight. It's like, all right, we're going to do what they say and, cook breakfast. Like, just start with one meal. It's like, all right, let's just focus on our breakfast this week.
Yeah. Or the first step, come up with a plan. Like, what do you actually do in your house? Or what do you want to do in your house?
Yeah.
Do you want to take it in turns to cook? Also, what you do with your shopping. Do you do one big weekly shop? Do you go to the shops every day? Like, that makes a big difference as to what you're cooking.
Yeah, and ultimately, you can let the overall results of your health, like, and fitness basically dictate the changes you need to make. Like, if you're listening to this and you think you're already on top of it and you're heading in the right direction and you're training with us and you're getting a bit stronger and a bit fitter, then don't change anything. Just continue with what you're doing. Yeah, but if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm getting results a little bit slower than I'd like, or this and that, and it's not quite happening, then, this is probably the podcast for you. Like,
or it could even be like energy levels. It doesn't have to be...
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be body composition at all. Like, we could all be better at, recovery, sleep, a better mood, more micronutrients, like all sorts of stuff. It's not always about muscle gain or weight lost, for sure.
Yeah.
Just general performance.
Yeah, it's another link, guys, just like everything we talk about.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks for tuning in this week. If you have any questions, again, shoot us a message. We are here to talk about this stuff all the time. And before you think that you're annoying us, we literally talk about it to each other all the time. So it's basically like just having you butt your head into a conversation. So it's all good. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.